cost anything?
Gemini Pro you can use for free for 2 weeks if you sign up with your Gmail account. And Claude Opus is a premium service. I have it in two places. I have one in Lex where I'm working with all the documentation software, and then I also have Claude, the first version, like the first monthly subscription. So I get Opus there as well.
Do you pay for both separately?
I do.
Now, what was Lex again?
Oh, Lex is that. I'll bring it up here. You'll recognize it. That's where I normally do my work uh, with SME in the writing. It's more of a writer's tool.
Ah, okay. So Lex
Uh,
is a program.
yeah, I'll just bring it up here so that you can see. That's this one here. Where this one here is probably best bang for buck. If you're writing, this is the best thing because it is one subscription, one monthly subscription, and you get access to just tons. Let's go to, I just did this one here for the 14th. So this was another episode of What's Up Canada where he had himself and two guests. So it was a different setup. And going in here, we engineered a work. I further engineered the workflow. But the reason why I like Lex so much is because of this right here. When you subscribe Pro, you get access like free. You can sign up for free, and you get a certain amount of context window that you can use for free just to get to know how the tool works. And these are great. These are great to get started with. ChatGPT 5, I don't like it, but it's a good one. Claude 4.5 Haiku, I like that one as well. I like it more than ChatGPT, but the context window is vastly different. ChatGPT's context window is double that of what Haiku is.
Now, what do you
So
mean
it's
by context window?
how many tokens can it process before it starts creating a lot of problems, like where it hallucinates and all that stuff. The context window is how many tokens in the session.
Okay, so now just I'm going to use this as an illustration.
Yep.
For your Wednesday talk,
Hmm.
few people will understand what you just said about tokens.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
so um, you'll have to explain what that means. Now, you might not be touching on this particular subject, but
I agree. I think the word token itself requires a 45-minute presentation. I'm gonna steer clear of it on Wednesday, just to
okay,
define it,
sure,
and help people see the correlation to digital tokens. Because
yeah,
that's all we're doing was we're simply consuming context window. Every time we open up another session, every time you start a brand new chat, you start out with about 1.2 at the most because it needs its own system prompt, right? So the system prompt itself is probably going to be 1 or 2 thousand tokens. And then the maximum is here. It's tough to see. I don't think I can make it big. No, I can't make it bigger. That's out of 200,000. So that's the limit that Opus can do. But Opus is called it's a deep deep context reasoning model. So those 200 tokens that it is taking in are in many ways leveraged more than ChatGPT's 1,000
you said
tokens.
that's 200,000, not 200, right?
That's right,
Okay,
200,000.
yeah, okay, getting
ChatGPT, Gemini, that has that. So go ahead. Yeah.
So getting back to Lex, so Lex is so you write on this. You use this app as a writer,
Yeah,
like
so
almost like Word.
I'll give you an example. Like this here is a PDF swapping Ada for Night. We did that episode where we talked about this, how to do this in the next gen merchants.
Yep.
So then I created out of that, I generated this document, and here it sits in Lex. And the reason why is because it's context for everything that we're teaching. So I'm going to be creating articles talking about how important it is to do these things. And hey, here's an example of how we did it between these two coins. This is I went through this line for line and edited what was generated by LLMs out of that meeting. So this tool is amazing for writing anything. Procedural, if you have standard operating procedures, a business has standard operating procedures, this here will help them create any kind of course material for it. Or maybe it's someone who's working on a book. Well, you just create folders of content and then
So
you
is this
tag those with you tag those contexts for your prompts.
okay? So is this a replacement for like a Word document?
I would say that what this does is that it creates it's basically a word processor with the capacity to choose from any number of these models. And I'll give you a real world example of how I use this all the time. I'll start off sometimes with Claude Sonnet 4.5. And the reason why is because it's not a deep reasoning model, so it's not consuming tokens as fast. It's using smaller amounts of tokens to complete the tasks at the cost of deep reasoning. But what I'll do is that I'll start off a prompt with tons. Like I'll usually start off the first few. Like here's the start, right? I'll start the first few off with Sonnet 4.5 because I want to build the context for the project. So now I get all of this great content from Sonnet 4.5 low context window model, or rather
Yeah.
a low processing model,
Yeah.
simply to get the context. Because then what I do is that at the end of it all, at the end of it all, I can go ahead and give the whole context to Opus to give me that final output that I really want.
Okay.
And then that way I'm able, and I can do it either with other models too, right? Like I've even done it where it's like, well, let's take the output of multiple models. I'm going to take the same prompt
Yeah.
and I'm going to give it to ChatGPT 5. I'm going to give it to Grok 4. I'm going to give it to DeepSeek. I'm going to give it to Gemini. I'm going to give it to even, you know what? Sometimes I've even given it to Llama. I hate it. I really have never enjoyed the output from Llama. But there it is. I can get another context window. Kimi 2. So K2 is a new model that came out of China. The context window is smaller, 131. But
Sure.
it's, again, deep reasoning, and in fact, one of the first open source agentic LLMs, meaning that you can give it agency over digital assets, and it will manage them for you.
So the idea of agentic agency over assets, what do you mean by that?
Okay, there we go. Let's do that. I'm going to go over to Claude Code here, show you the screen. Can I do that? Oh, I have to change this over to Claude. Okay.
So nobody's waiting in the.
Audrey just made it.
Okay.
Oh,
I was in my project. So excited.
oh, nice.
So let's
Okay,
just
here we
answer
go.
that one question and get back to.
And then we can get to market analysis or whatever
Yeah.
we're doing
Sure.
today.
Yeah.
All right. So what this is Claude Code. Claude Code is another version of Opus that is specific to creating language patterns in code. When a code, any code really, it doesn't matter what code you're looking to code with. This is a language learning model, and because it's Opus, deep reasoning, it's able to conduct agentic. Oh, why does that happen? Why does it disappear? Oh, the scene switcher is left on. Hang on, folks. There we go. All right. So Claude Code has the capacity to work within folders. So I can tell it, here's my community platform that I'm building. This is
Right.
the folder for the application that I'm using for myself, but I've retrofitted that same application for What's Up Canada. Now we're doing it for Experimentor. I would imagine that Wellness Beyond is going to be coming up soon. The folder itself contains all the digital assets for that entire project, for the entire infrastructure. Even the project management folder, which then has tons of files, and they are project management files. They contribute to the security of the project, so that when this machine is going and typing and doing its button pushing, that it doesn't undo things that were set in stone earlier. There have to be certain guidelines and rules for how does it do. You have to tell it what to do. It's not going to do everything for you unless it has the clarity to do it. If you don't give it the clarity, it's not going to be able to properly execute the tasks for the session. And so Claude Code is like an agentic LLM in that I can give it the platform and I can give it the command of what I would like done. Say, I want my, for instance, last week I had something break where one of the fields that embeds videos broke, and it wasn't showing up. It wasn't even just showing the video in the news feed or in the feed of posts. And so I had to get that back in there, and I didn't know how to do the code, but I just told this agent, and I said, here you have the digital asset, there's the folder. Here's the symptom that I've experienced where this community platform folder, the infrastructure, something broke because I can't add the link for the video that's on storage. And it reads that whole folder and knows exactly what I just said because it knows code. It knows project infrastructure. It knows how to find the error codes and read them. I don't have to go hunting through folders to go find an error log.
Okay.
It has it all there. And so an agentic LLM will do the same thing with contexts. So for instance, what I'm going to do next with Lex, to give you an idea where I'm headed next. Ian, you and I, Audrey, you and I, think of how many conversations we've had that have absolutely blown our minds, right?
Yep.
Well, next gen merchants, Ian Masterminds, Ian Mastermind transcripts. Oh, look at that. I got a bunch of transcripts here. I'm taking these transcripts and I'm giving them to Kimmy. This K2. Sorry, not the transcripts. I'm having Claude Sonnet create the transcript summaries. So it's now taking all of the back and forth, the speaker labels and all that stuff, and it's creating a summary of the masterminds that we have. And then I will give 20 summaries to Kimi K2. And because it's an agentic model with a small context window, I'll be underneath. I'll probably be around 60 or 70,000 tokens. But those 70,000 tokens of context in the hands of Kimi K2 is going to outperform ChatGPT 5 with 400,000. It's going to outperform Gemini Pro with 1 million.
Why? Why outperform? Why can K2 outperform those?
Because 2 reasons. Number 1, it's Chinese on a different infrastructure. They're not using NVIDIA chips. Number 2, they are also, where was I going? Number 2 was, it's a deep reasoning model. And it's designed to take things of this nature, and it has the capacity to silo information. So when you start using language patterns, instead of going through and basically like an umbrella, that's basically what's happening with these large context models. Like, let's go to ChatGPT 4, for example. Where is it? Oh, I don't have that model in my checklist right now. But if you go to ChatGPT 4, you'll see it has 1 million token context window. But the reason why it has that is because it's looking at the 500 billion data points or whatever it is. I don't think that has that many. But all of the data points that it uses, because it gets trained, all of those data points, ChatGPT is looking at it from a very, very high view. And so what happens is you have what's called token rot, where the more tokens that ChatGPT is managing, the less efficient use of the tokens there is.
So in other words, it looks shallow in a shallow manner. It doesn't go deep.
Correct. When it bring up Kimi K2 and I give it an order, it's able to take what I say and target in and hone in on the silos of context that go deep underneath what I've said, instead of trying to interpret what I said across a large span and then come up with a most probable response. The probability goes to hits home closer. I wouldn't do this for mundane tasks though, because it's not meant to do mundane tasks. It's meant to consolidate large amounts of data and create something comprehensive. Does that help with answering what does it mean agentic?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Well, let me bring up, I haven't even opened the markets yet today.
By the way, when it comes to AI, is AI listening to all of your inputs such that your inputs could be compromised?
Could be AI be
or your
listening
information
to
could be
all my
compromised.
inputs. Oh, I see. Like for instance, now we wait a second. Boy, that's really choppy on.
Let's say that you and
my
I are
video
having
really choppy on your end?
Yes, it is.
You probably have too much up.
I probably have too many things open.
I have a question.
Yes,
about
I got
too.
video.
So I have a question about what you were just talking about and market analysis.
Okay.
So everything you've talked about in market analysis and where the markets are and all of, whatever, say you put all of that into that system, will it come up with what could possibly be happening? Like future markets and what's going to go up and possibly when, and what's going to go down and possibly when? Because
You are
it's
now,
patterns.
this has been a growing thing. And in fact, the most accurate LLM for doing that kind of work is Grok. And the
Is what?
reason why is because Grok,
Oh,
out of all of the LLMs, has the most broad context on human behavior at the moment.
So have you tried it? Have you put any of
Yep.
your all marketing out, and where's it going?
I haven't given my market analysis to, like, the transcripts of my market analysis to Grok. I haven't done that. What I have been doing is taking specific followers that people that I follow. I've shared with you guys. We got Virtual Bacon. We've got Ethical Skeptic. We've got Edward Dowd that I pay attention to. I've got just Dario,
Like
the
even
Hispanic
putting
fellow. All of them, I go to Grok and I tag those people's Twitter names, and I say, tell me what all of these people are saying. Give me a summary of what these people are saying today. And that's the stuff that I come up with whenever I go into a deep dive. I've just got Grok outlining what it is that they've said with references to where they said it. And then I just go and I click on buttons to go and read the things for myself and get my own context. And what I want to do, yeah, I would love to go to the next level sometime and have it be like, okay, Grok, based on your unique perception on human behavior and the emotional nature of the markets, where do you see things happening over the next 3 to 6 months? Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
that would
Do I
be a
have
lot
time
of
to
fun.
do that? No, I don't, because we got market stuff going on. Wow, market stuff.
that too, putting
There's
that
that
in.
market analysis too that I could give, but no, that's going to be for Wednesday night.
Okay.
Yes, all of it. I believe we are going to reach a point of singularity with these machines, where it's just like, oh, well, let's just go figure out what that algorithmically would be. And you can hypothesize on all that. It's also going to reveal to people what reality is simultaneously, because it's just going to get to the point where all of the possibilities are so numerous. The possibility horizon will expand to such a degree that people's belief in what's possible will be shattered. Think about it. Oh, I don't like my car anymore. I'm going to go drive it to my friend who has that nanotechnology 3D printer, and he can take the car apart down to the raw materials and assemble a new one for me tomorrow. Like, I'm not saying that's happening in the next 2 years. I'm saying that that's where we're headed. And it's going to be such a renaissance of creativity, innovation, all the rest, that people are going to, I mean, think about it. When it happened last time, we found out that blood circulated through our veins, that there was actually a circulation. That changed everything.
I don't get what you're meaning by that.
The last time we went through a renaissance, after the Dark Ages, after the printing press, that
Oh, I see.
renaissance, that renaissance, we found out in that next 100-year period of time, we found out that blood circulated through our veins. And that changed everything. We're going to be making discoveries and epiphanies about ourselves, and it's going to be coming at the hand of a button pusher. And I'm pointing at the markets because we watch it play out. Again, I'm not saying on the hourly and all that stuff. Here we get into the technical analysis, right? But if we go out onto the weekly chart, look at gold, weekly chart. If I make this a big window, full screen, it shows, I can zoom out all the way back to 87. I can't even, I'm going to go to the monthly chart so we can zoom right out, because this is where the key is. It is good to have the technical analysis monthly chart going back to January of 1930. No, that was 1833. You just, when you zoom out, and remember, ladies and gentlemen, this chart is logarithmic. So it's not to scale. It's compressed. The higher the number goes, the more compressed the digits are. When you zoom out, you can see just what this age is bringing forward for us. It is a renaissance. Every aspect of industry, there are industries being born, industries that never existed before. We're going to see companies rise and fall in 6 months, and they're going to be making history as the greatest successes, providing foundation for legacies to be built thereafter. And they're going to be and gone in 6 months and rewrite history at the same time. Successful because of how fast and quick the information can be passed around. We did it before, we're doing it again. It's just a different form of doing it this time. There's silver. Going back to 1802.
Crazy, eh?
Yep. All of this. 70s. Beforehand, barely moved. In fact, the low here in December of 71, the low on silver, $1.35. Oh, look, let's go back to 1830, $1.29. Imagine that. Something here, what we call in statistics, is a sigma event, meaning that it's impossible to be natural.
Explain what you think that means.
Well, what created this spike here? What made this so volatile after 150 years, 160 years of virtually, it stayed. It went up and down. But I mean, here, before it took off, it was $1.34 is the high. Let's go to a high right here. The high, $2.50. What was the previous high? Look at that, $1.89.
150 years earlier.
150 years earlier, it was $1.09. No, $1.90. $1.90. And then the next high created before the 70s was in 1968. Yep, nope. Yep, 68. June of 1968, $2.50. So then all of a sudden, how do we get so volatile? Now remember, in statistics, this goes to the probability curve. Okay, so when things occur, how probable is it? And you have to take the weighted average, bringing things down to a center of that curve. Well, the fluctuation and volatility up to that point fell within a specific curve for a very long time. Then all of a sudden, it goes outside of that. Remember we talked about ATR?
Yep.
Look at the ATR. It was flatlined that whole time. Little bit of a blip right there, simply because of how volatile it was in 1864. That volatility petered out though, and it flatlined. And the ATR all of a sudden went up. We can actually see how much it went up too. $66, $67 going in. Here we go. It's from 72. The ATR went up 4x. 484%. That's not price action. That's not the value. That's the ATR. It was almost 5 times as volatile as it had ever been. And then it did it again. This time, 17 times more volatility. What would create an event that goes outside of that distribution curve to such a degree? And that's what they're measuring in statistics. If it's outside of that probability curve, they have sigma points, they're called. So how far of a deviation from that curve have we strayed? And anything that's more than a 3 requires immediate attention. Anything more than a 5 is deliberate.
How do you mean?
It didn't occur naturally. It required an outside force for it to occur. It required something unnatural for that data to be plotted that way.
Now, outside of a 5 being a measure of what?
5, it depends on the data. The way that they do it, this is where my knowledge in statistics reaches a limit. But it's a spread of average across the mean. So there's the mean, and then it's like a bell curve of probability. And then as it starts to flatten out is where we see like 1, and then it gets to be 2, and then 3, where it is now at such a rate of decline that it's no longer really part of the bell. And then 5 is where it's clearly been flatlined. And so that's where it's like, I don't know how to describe that better. It would be a good thing to, you know what, hash that, and I will give it to an LLM and say, explain sigma points explain the shape of bell curve and the sigma points in statistics. And as if it was to a 5-year-old. That's a wonderful prompt, by the way. If you can tell an LLM to explain something to you like you're 5 years old, it will do a very good job at explaining what it is that you're looking to understand. Does that help? Does that help in answering the question? Like, this is clearly an unnatural event that created this, and the unnatural event being a decoupling. That was not supposed to happen. But it was a very convenient thing to do because, well, peak oil had just been reached. Someone had to take control of that oil. Let's go and check out things in the metals. Yep, sure enough. Thank you, gold, for showing us that you are truly a storehouse of value. Creating new highs again. We have now peaked out at 46.91 US. Ooh! I can remember when I first bought my first gold. I remember saying at the time, when this takes off, I will want the destruction to be as utter as possible. Why? Because I will then have the full knowledge, the scope of experience that can say I made the right choice. I can be proud of what the mistake that I made in buying in 2011. The mistake of buying here will be fully paid off. This is going to be insane. I don't even know what to say. Like, this is just the beginning. Silver also pressing upwards. Now $94.47 US in Canadian. $131.48. 251.5 ADA. Bitcoin dominance, we never really covered it. It's still on a downward trend. Now, at the same time, it has broken past that trend officially. We have 2 bars outside of that downward trend, but still experiencing a lot of resistance up against that 60% mark. In fact, this last time it went up and came back down quickly. If this candle, when we see this kind of pattern, if this candle stays down where the close finishes off underneath this previous high, 60% chance we're going down. Ethereum against Bitcoin, still consolidating.
Can we go back to that previous?
Yeah.
So when you talk about the exit, could you enlarge that to go back to that one candle? So the exit point where it is currently. Oh,
This is now zoomed in on the 2-hour chart. Do you want to go back to the daily?
yeah.
Okay.
So the exit point on the current candle is flush with the exit point of the previous high. The exit point is the previous high candle.
That's right.
So it's like that, and then the one right in the middle between those two, the entry point is that.
Yep.
So it looks like the 3 days it stayed right at that level. It's like it was a resistance point, eh?
Yes. Yes, indeed. And you're bringing up exactly why that 60% chance things comes into play. If this doesn't close above that zone where that resistance was, look, it was there again. Provided a little bit here for a few days. Going back where we are right now provided support as well.
So the question then is that exit point on the current candle, does it have to be higher than the exit point on the previous high candle or higher than the actual top of the wick?
On a daily chart, and this is where we have like, well, it depends. On the daily chart, the close simply needs to be below the resistance.
Okay.
If we wanted to go in and do a technical analysis on anything under a daily chart, there we need to have a little bit, we need to be mindful that there are little resistances and supports along the way that can affect where the close occurs on any of these. And so on a short term, you will make a different choice in that case. Just because, let's say for instance, we have this high here, the close is down here. But that all occurred in the between 9 o'clock and 1 o'clock p.m. 9 o'clock a.m. and 1 o'clock p.m. on the January 15th.
Okay.
That is such a minute sliver of time that you have to analyze it a little bit differently. Short answer, on the daily, you want to see how the close finishes things off and whether it's above or below resistance. Not so much the close or, not so much the close or the close of the previous highs day.
Okay.
This here, this wick here, I would say as long as this day closes below here, below this resistance area, and I would call that like about like this, because we have a little bit like this is, again, looking at the daily chart, If we were to zoom in on a 15-minute chart, we would see how this gets interacted with on a more minute level.
It would be
And
more
so it's really,
populated.
this is just a resistance area. And as long as it stays below that, we're headed down.
And is that because of you got 5 days there, or is there? What if it just continued going straight across?
Good. So the reason why we say that is because now I'm zoomed in on the hourly chart. So this is now looking at the daily. Let's go in here. I'm going to be taking this area from this low going up to this high, okay?
Good.
But we're going to look at it on the hourly chart. There's the low, and this is the high. From here, we have a market structure. We have A, B, C, D, A, B, C, and D. Actually, even this D with a very, very shallow C.
Yeah.
So A, B, C, D. This is a retracement finding a lower C.
Yeah.
And when we shot up, the bulls had a run at it. But then the bears took back over, and if by the end of the day they managed to beat out this bullish impulse, that's the more zoomed in definition, so to speak.
And plus, that bullish impulse didn't go above the previous high.
That's right. In fact, the bears pulled back pretty hard, pretty fast, all within an hour. So this lower being low, this impulse not being able to get above, we just wait to see how the day closes, and that'll give us a better indication of where we're headed next.
Okay.
Yeah, great observations. Bitcoin prices still recovering, really. Like up and down, up and down, up and down. I've been watching as well on the altcoins. We're seeing the same thing, up and down. We're just seeing that almost a consolidation within the trend. Because now we've broken above this wedge. And now we're seeing resistance and support happen along this channel. And that's because, let's go move. I'm going to zoom in on the 4-hour chart now so we can see. It currently is retesting this trend line. Again, we'll see what happens as the day progresses. It may dip back in and continue to consolidate within this.
When do you move that upper trend line up to match the?
That's when if we see this provides support and we create another new high, that's where I'm definitely turning it officially into this. It's already potential, but we could just be testing, headed our way back down. We could be just testing this trend line. We'll know if it's a test or not, because this would be a failed test if it continues down, or a successful test if it bounces off that trend line as support.
Sure.
And it's only because I like to see the confirmation. A lot of people say, oh, it's too late to take a trade after your confirmation. And I'm like, no, because I'm looking at that longer time frame, right? If we get above this high here, that provided major support in the past and resistance. That's a major pivot point. This high right here. Oh, mouse, come on, move. There we go. That is a pretty major pivot point. Yeah, I'll actually go here with that one. And then, where did it go? There it is. There. That's a little bit more accurate now. That R1. Any questions about that one? Midnight. Nice little pump here over the last half a day since last night. It's up 24% from the evening. We'll see what happens. That's a pretty low low. We've definitely tested this old support here from the December 16th. We tested that pretty hard. We do have a nice push going above the trend line. If we can now use that trend line as support, we have a likelihood of having a reversal and bringing the price back up again. We'll know for sure by Wednesday. ADA dipping back into this zone, this area of consolidation before we had that Wyckoff pattern. Doesn't really mean much that it came back into here. It is a C, but now it's just deeper. That's all that means. We haven't broken market structure in the slightest. What is nice to see is that this consolidation on that finer time frame, this movement here is occurring above this one and this one and this one. This is a major pivot point. So staying above that is good to see. If dipping down into C, it was weak, we would have saw this squiggly line occur underneath that pivot point. But it occurred above, so that's encouraging. It means that the bulls are putting up a good fight. I think that's pretty much it. It's all I'll cover for today. Q's and A's. Talk about other trends. Total market cap, excluding the top 10, which is largely going to be your silver, your merchants, starting up their different companies, doing their best to get up to that $1 billion market cap. That's the majority of the wealth of the small businesses, of the ventures, the startups, the innovators. Currently sitting at 6.74% market cap. Looking forward to that getting above the 10%. That will be a great, I would say a flip of the script, or a flip of the banking system, in a sense. Go to the weekly. It was up to 19-20% in alt season, which is awesome. Let's do that again. XRP having a lot of support here in this $1.95 range, $2 range. I'm just blabbing. Bring up questions if you want.
None
Looking
yet.
to see if there's anything else triggering my thoughts here.
What are the what would be the really go-to ones at the moment for short-term gain? Are you still big on SPX and Tau?
Short-term gain, I'm steering clear of making anything too concrete. I'm going to share with you, this is the 4-hour charts. We're going to see some definition. No, let's go to the daily on SPX. The reason it's not, the short-term gains are really going to boil down to where's the first place people are putting their money before, like, who is it that puts their money before it happens? That's the big thing. The Monero chart that you brought up last week was very, very indicative of alt season coming right around the corner. Well, because of the nature of this particular wave and because of the emergence of, like, look at this. I have the capacity. This chart doesn't have any data before 2024. It isn't even showing yet. October 2024. Like, this was, I don't even think it was around. This is a very new thing. It is at its floor.
Yes.
And it has the highest percentage of holders holding more than $1,000 US worth. That tells me that they are fanatics. And it also tells me that they are in position to be that short-term gain. Now, disclaimer, it's a meme coin. Arguably, so is Bitcoin, simply by the fact that there's a whole bunch of people who are fanatic about it. And they've created a massive decentralized community around building solutions using that technology. But that's what SPX is doing too. They're just using a meme coin to show legitimacy to a community that is saying things need to change. And because of how coins can just so easily, the reason why last alt season of 2021 was so amazing was because that one of the huge facilitators for that were the DEXs, the decentralized exchanges. They got their shit together and they actually made their product work. So that was when it was like, whoa, look at this whole new world of exchange where we don't have to use personally identifiable information to exchange equity. Wow. Well, the next layer of anonymity to your equity would be in a private community. And you signify your membership simply by buying another token. That decentralizes the exchange even further. And meme coins are that's just the natural progression of things. Meme coins, while there was Doge before, there were not the emergence of meme coins like there was last time. And last time, it was the decentralized exchange tokens that set things off. So the meme coins are simply in position to set things off for this. Whether that's actually what happens. Does this mean that, those who are at the finishing up their projects, like this is, you have to remember, all of the development from AI from the last 3-4 years has turned into a super machine that is on your computer. I was just chatting with Audrey Lynn yesterday, telling her, you remember how I told you you can go into Brave and you can go ahead and you can create a new profile? I'm going to go ahead and do it right now. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do it right now because it's going to take a lot to set up. But there are a lot of people who have done this. Go to a Brave profile, create a new one. Here it pops up. It says, oh, welcome. What's the name of the Brave profile? Oh, you mean I have to identify it? I can give it an identifier? Well, you guys have been hearing me talk about SME, right? Done. Now I have a Brave profile for SME. Now I'm just going to type in the search bar, Chrome Store, Claude extension. I spelt it wrong, and it'll still take me there. Chrome Web Store, Claude extension, add extension. You guys know how to do this. You started up a wallet. Now, look, Claude has been added to Brave. verifying Claude. Yeah, let's go ahead and sign in. Now, I'm not going to go through it now because I got to go get my username and password because I don't remember my Google one. But that now I have a Brave profile that Claude can use. What does that mean? Well, I have a lot of things that I do where I have to log in. I have to use my username and my password, and then I got to go and click buttons and complete tasks using a browser. But now with agentic LLMs, I can have SME operate my browser and do all of that stuff. You know, those rabbit holes that I like to go down where there's 20 tabs now open because there's this legal document and this one that I pulled out and this act over there. Or, you know, I'm going down a rabbit hole of learning how to harden my infrastructure for my app. You know, whatever it is that I'm looking to do, whatever it is I'm looking to accomplish, whatever content it is that I know that I need to consume, I don't have to go and hunt it down anymore. I can have an agent use its own Brave profile and agentically do my internet stuff for me.
So you can either,
Nope, go ahead, yeah.
You canceled the page. I was going to say, so you can either log in with Google or continue with email.
Oh, yeah. And I know, like, I connected my Google account to this, so I just need to go through the process.
Sure. Is there any way you could do that without going into Google?
Oh, yeah. You just create your account with anything other than a Google account.
Okay.
Yep. Yep, there you go. So I just sign in. Oh, I could sign in with this one.
Which is your Google.
Yeah, well, that's one of them. I've got 2 different Google accounts and I use them uniquely. So I could create. I could go ahead.
I was going to say I just became aware last week about a email option on Proton that gives you multiple email addresses that you can enter. That all the emails coming from that entry go to your main email address, but you use I won't say fake because it's not fake, but a real email address that is not your main email address. And if that particular entry becomes a problem down the future, in other words, they spam you with that particular email address, you just delete it, stop using it, and that's the end of all of that.
Yep. In fact, you can do that with many email accounts allow you to do this. I'll use Google as an example. If I'm going to create an account, I'm going to say, yes, I want to subscribe to your stuff. I want your data. I will put in, you know, man known as Paul, which is the first part of the email address. But then I can go plus and create a unique identifier, just like what you were saying.
Okay,
but it's not an address. It's an address, but what this does is it commands the email system to put that email directly into the folder that is of that identifier. So if I numbered the folders, I could go 510.
Sure.
And anything that is file 10 or file 510 will just automatically go into that folder.
Cool.
And if the folder doesn't exist, it doesn't land. Just like you were saying. Just, well, okay, well, I'll just delete the folder. Click. Now they can't even email me there anymore.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's all identifiers, eh? It's just little identifiers here and there and everywhere.
Yeah.
Little digital IDs. Yeah, I'll come back to that. But yeah, that's what's going on. So with that occurring, with the onboarding, I call it, the great onboarding, where everybody goes and gets their next round of digital IDs, just like they did when the last lockdowns happened. Everybody had to go get a Zoom account all of a sudden, or else the world was going to end. Same thing's going to happen again. You don't have your agent? Well, then your digital ID is simply going to be the identifier that is attributed to the property you create with your digital mechanical devices, because that's all these things are. They're just mechanical. At the nano level, mechanical, but it's your device, it's your machine doing it. Identify yourself. Or you can create data privately, and you don't have to attribute it to that identifier. That's what it boils down to. That's where we're at. These people know this. If anybody came to any of my talks that I did in the 2020, right after COVID started, I was doing a bunch more talks, and I was already talking about this at that time. How about how data is the next biggest traded commodity? And that the nerds are going to be the ones that actually save the day. We gave them wedgies because, oh, no, we're not. I didn't. But that bullies gave the nerds the wedgies because I watched it happen. I watched the nerds get wedgies. And they are the people who I am so grateful that there are those who got wedgies that overcame the trauma of being bullied at school, because they are saving humanity. And the vast majority of these developers know that, and they are joining communities like this. And I think that's why we're going to see meme coins take off first.
Speaking of nerds, Michael Burry, that article that I posted in Next Gen Merchants 2 days ago.
I have got to read that.
He's he's considering that the AI scenario is a bubble.
Oh, yes.
He expects AI boom to end badly. That's how he puts it.
Hyperscalers, including Microsoft and Alphabet, are wasting huge sums on microchips, and data centers that will quickly become obsolete due to AI. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So you've touched on this. So, but he's talking about the AI boom ending badly. You haven't indicated that an end is in sight so much as it's just going to. And when you look at the .com boom of around 2000, it never ended. It just, the bubble popped and it just reinvigorated itself back at the bottom. And I'm wondering if that's what SPX has done. It's in the process of reinvigorating itself.
Yeah, I would say so. And I would say that on a whole, blockchain is accomplishing that same thing simply because of the recognition that the data has to be private.
So there is now an article that came out in Epoch yesterday talking about the. Now this could just simply be a speculation of a fear people might have, that the name of the article, quantum computing could smash cyber security, take away all of our secrets. I'm going to post that here in Next Gen Merchants.
That sounds like a good one.
So the idea being the same, quantum computer, both Google Quantum AI and I think there's one other one as well out of China. Okay, I just posted it.
Perfect.
So the idea being that they could breach any security on a wallet or anything is essentially what they're talking about.
Yep. I see it. I see what you mean. And yes, that is very, very true. But guess what? A human hacker can do that too. This is the thing that who was it? It's Sabrina on YouTube, right? Audrey Lynn, we were listening to this months ago. All of the fears that are built around quantum computing are entirely based off of scientific journalism released that is verifiably false.
Okay.
And Sabrina on YouTube exposed that the root of that problem early on in this debacle. Quantum computing is definitely something incredibly powerful. At the moment, there are only two devices that were capable of accomplishing a state of quantum. And the reason why is because, and they can't keep it there for very long because it's not, unless you're actively using it, it's not worth running. It's not worth powering because it requires an environment of 0 or very close to 0 Kelvin so that the molecules of the material, the processors, are not moving. But as soon as you give it electricity, it heats up and the molecules start moving. And so then you have to cool it down even more. And it becomes an infinite loop of, okay, so you can only process information if you're simply consuming astronomical amounts of energy to cool the unit down. It's not it's not a viable source of computing yet.
Okay.
And so the fears are built off of though I love the way that she puts things. Her tagline is science talk without the gobbledygook or something like that. And but she can be extreme. You can tell she's got her doctorate. She's very, very knowledgeable, and she has been exposing the rot that has permeated the scientific community in computing science, especially around the topic of AI, quantum computing, and all these things. She'll bring up papers and she will call out mainstream scientists, people who of high regard in the media, and calls them out directly.
Her name is Sabrina?
Sabrina Hoffenhauer or something like that. I'll find it and I'll throw her channel up in YouTube, or up her YouTube channel in the Telegram.
Yeah, that would be appreciated. Do you and more specifically, if you can throw up the link to that particular story, if you have.
Oh yeah. Yep, indeed. There's her profile. Yeah, she's good. She doesn't mince words. I would even say in many ways aligned.
Oh, Sabine, not Sabrina. Okay.
Sabine. Yep. Thank you. I forgot to mention that. Now to find that video, that might take me a bit. Ian,
Okay.
if you could just maybe send me a reminder about that in Telegram, just to find that video.
She's got an article in here called "LLMs are a dead end."
Oh yeah, she's got good arguments. Yeah, I will find it. And yeah, well, even recently, 2 weeks ago, there's one why quantum computing might fail, and she goes into detail on that one. There's also another woman that I follow. She's actually computer chip engineer. So she engineers computer chips. I can't remember her name. Anastasia. Wait. That's another channel that's worth listening to because
I suppose if a quantum computer was stationed in space, it might become viable.
yeah, because very very little molecular movement out there. You don't have to spend a lot of money on cooling, as long as you can stay in the Earth's shadow.
Yeah.
If the sun hits it,
Well, you just have a blind around it, so it's
a shield. Yeah,
shield.
yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, this is another one to. She goes into good detail on like chip manufacturing and even talks about the new chips that are out and which ones are next. Well, it's her channel is all about the future of computing and AI. Okay. Anything else? Maureen, you made it.
I just got off another call for we're off for a memoriam for one of the women that was in our group.
I have to go.
See you, Ian.
And I wanted to make sure that this audio worked because there was no audio on my other call.
Oh.
I just wanted to make sure it worked. So I'll be with you in 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'll see you then.
All right, bye.
Bye for now. Wayne got all kinds of new layouts here. It's interesting. Wow. Huh. I'm gonna have to relearn how to use the software. he's made a bunch of changes to the studio here. Oh yeah. Any other questions? Comments?
I think I'm good.